Welcome everyone to another episode of Behind the Canvas here at Illinois Art Station. Again, I'm Laura. I'm the Executive Director at Illinois Art Station, and I am again joined by Becca, our Communications Specialist. And this month's topic is going to focus on how we plan some of our fundraising campaigns. As the communications specialist, Becca has a lot of insight into how we market and promote the different things that we do. So she's actually going to get to answer some of the questions and provide some feedback and insight into some of those things.
Okay, awesome. So the first question is, what are the steps of putting together a fundraising campaign?
For the most part, it's sort of identifying what the goal is. And, here at Illinois Art Station, we're a nonprofit organization and we do rely on our community to help support the work that we do financially. But some of our fundraising or campaigns are also about connecting to the people who support us both financially, but also through participation or sharing our message with their communities as well. One of our campaigns that we run that I really like is our Color Together campaign, which is a week-long fundraising campaign where really the goal is to just reach as many people as possible. And so it's really about building our community and trying to get everyone to realize that we all have a part to play in the work that is done. So kind of establishing that goal and then developing the ways you want to communicate that goal to your groups and your current donors and future donors. What do we hope to achieve? Is there a dollar amount that we're really needing? Are we raising money for a specific purpose? Is it to help raise awareness?
Yeah, I think that me and Laura usually communicate at the beginning what the goals are, what the strategy is, and then I kind of put that down on paper. So once I know that we're going to have a campaign coming up, and once I get all that information from Laura, I like to put it down on paper and first create a calendar. So I know when the posts are going to go out, and then create a list of the content needed because we have amazing art designers that are going to create that content for us. So that's kind of the avenue that I go through. And then how are we going to communicate those goals? Usually I like to stick to some kind of branding, some kind of theme so that everyone knows whenever they see a post that this is for our fundraising campaign. So the next question is, how do you decide when to run a campaign?
Yeah. So, I like to think of myself as a relatively organized person. And the reason I say that is because I like to look at the whole calendar, right? Like I like to see what are we doing throughout the course of our year, both programmatically as well as general communications, and try to find a way for our calendar to um, not be overwhelming for our staff, but also to meet our needs as an organization. So I look at what educational programming, like art education programming, are we running when? What are we communicating to our base, our groups already? What are our needs, right? Like what are our goals? And every organization, nonprofit, especially nonprofits, we have an amount of money that needs to be raised in order to meet our operational goals. And so I have to look at that and say, what are the different campaigns that we're running? What are the different ways that we can raise those funds, and how much of that big chunk of funds can be raised of each individual?
I think from like a marketing perspective, me and Laura both like to capitalize on like small holidays. So recently we had an Inspire the Arts campaign that was launched around National Crayon Day. We did a campaign around National Art Day, just different things that we can celebrate as Illinois Art Station that focus on the arts, but that also can provide opportunities for our students as well. All right, so our next question, we kind of touched on this, but maybe in a little more detail. Who is involved in the development and execution of the campaigns?
Yeah. So the main people, I guess, are myself and Becca, obviously, and then our graphic design team. So those are like the primary components, if you will. Um, you know, I, as the director, try to establish the overall direction and vision for what the campaign is, what the goal is, how we want to reach out, and then Becca, as she mentioned, really does the nitty gritties of here's when things are going to go out, how they're going to go out, what the content will actually be. And then our graphic designers really bring it all together, honestly, because they create the visual language that really communicates probably way better than any of the words we come up with, what the campaign is, who we are as an organization, and how whatever that goal of the campaign, whatever that goal is, how it will support our mission and everything overall. So those are the main working parts. Often our art educators come into play too, because they're the ones who might be developing like a program that goes around the campaign, or some aspect of the campaign, be it like an art event or art making that happens at an event. And so really every member of our team has some role to play in a campaign, regardless of how tangential it might seem on the surface.
And I would add, execution-wise, our community. I
Oh,
mean,
definitely,
we
yeah.
wouldn't have a fundraising campaign if we didn't have individuals sharing our posts, commenting, liking, donating. It really is an all hands on deck. All right, our last question is, how far in advance do you start planning a campaign, or how long does a usual campaign take to plan?
Kind of going back to what I mentioned a little earlier, in that I try to look at the whole, at least the whole year, ideally the next 2 years, honestly, to plan everything out, like knowing here's when this is going to happen, here's when this is going to happen, and here's when this is going to happen. So from the big picture perspective, I start planning things like a year out or more to get a sense of when things will happen, and the different individual needs. I would say that the rubber really hits the road though about 2 months before, when we start really identifying the specifics of what needs to be created by our graphic designers or by Becca in terms of communication and content. And then we really nail down like the plan. For some things, we want people to be aware that it's coming up well in advance, right? So there might be campaigns where a couple of months out or 2 to 3 months out, we're actually starting the campaign itself by sending out emails to those members of our community who've signed up for our mailing list. How far in advance things happen totally depend on the event itself or the campaign itself. As we get closer to opening our building and having more of a physical presence, we're going to have some physical actual events coming up to look forward to. And we've been working on those for over a year. So, there are some of these things take a long, long time.
Yeah, I think it, like you said, it really just depends on what the campaign is for. I mean, we have like 1-day fundraising events that probably could be done in a couple weeks. We have a fundraising event coming up that's going to be a month long. So that has been in the planning process for a long time, because those things require more work from our designers, more work from me on the different posts, more work from Laura, because that's a long time to keep people engaged. So yeah, it really just depends, but it's kind of fun to put them together. What is your favorite campaign that we've done so far?
Oh, that's a good question. I think my favorite one so far has been the Color Together one, because it was really the first one that I really did have in this position, right? So one of the first things that I, as the new director, tried to do. And it was so gratifying to see both all our staff kind of come together, like the graphic designers and the work that you did to prepare for the campaign. But then really the community response was really great. I don't think I knew what to expect, because as our organization has evolved, this is one of the first years that we have been an independent nonprofit. So it's one of the first times where we've really looked to the community for financial support. This is the first time that we're really making it transparent and clear that we are an organization that relies on the community and donations and things like that. So it was really exciting to see so many people respond, and to get this was that campaign that we asked for small $1 donations even. So, it wasn't like, we came out of the campaign with like a whole year's worth of operating funds or anything, but we got a lot of input and a lot of feedback, and it was just exciting to see that so many people care about the Illinois Art Station, and to have that. So that was really, that's been my favorite so far. But I think that, as we're planning even now and looking to the future, we have a lot of really exciting things planned. And so I feel like, now I don't want to give anything away, but I feel like some of my favorite things are yet to come, to be honest.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. But I agree. I think the Colored Together campaign, it was my first campaign post college that I got to do just independently, really on my own. I mean, obviously we have a team, but it wasn't one that I was kind of working under someone else to assist with. Like I got to do a lot of the strategy behind it.
Yeah.
And it was just nice to see. For me, it was like my first month working here. I was like, I don't know what this community looks like. I don't know really what's going on. And it just blew me away how many people were willing to contribute, even a small amount. It was really nice. But I agree. I think what's in the future is going to be really exciting.
I think so too. Yeah. No, it was great. We really threw you into the deep end with that
Yeah,
one.
yeah. There was no easing into it. It was just
Yeah, yeah.
bam,
It was good. It was good.
fundraise.
You're doing so great though. So I'm
Oh,
really
thank
wonderful.
you.
Yeah.
All
Um,
right, that's all the questions I had. Did you have anything else?
yeah, I don't think so. I think this is, one of those topics that can maybe be not so obvious to talk about, because I think
Yeah.
talking about anything financial related is always a little bit uncomfortable for people. But it actually has been really fun to just think about the strategies that we use, and um,
Mhm.
how we actually go about doing some of those things. So this has been really interesting, I think, and I hope that the viewers enjoyed getting some insight, at least into our kind of crazy brains when it comes to this kind of planning. Um, as always, we will have another behind the canvas for you next month. And if there is a particular topic that you're interested in or something you would like to know more about regarding Illinois Art Station, just let us know and we'll be happy to tackle that for you. Well, bye everyone.
Bye. Thank you.